Conversations, it's a lot. But first, let's discuss what James Harden is doing in Houston with 10 straight games, scoring at least 35 points. Now, guys, he could pass Michael Jordan with an 11th straight 35-plus point performance against the Nuggets. It, of course, is not going to come easy against the Western Conference leading team.
Kevin, let me go back to the old days for a second. Do you remember when players used to come into training camp to get in shape?
Yes.
And then eventually 15, 20 games into it, you see them round out to what they are, really. But nowadays, that doesn't happen. You come in shape. But Harden looked like he was from the old days, the way he first came in.
Yeah, he's a little heavier to start the season off. But he's on a roll right now. I tell you what, as a player sometimes, you just get on. You step out there and the basket seems like it's 3 times as big as it normally looks. Everything seems slow. It's like you look around and you wonder why is everybody playing so slow and why isn't everybody trying harder? And you get into a groove where the game is so smooth and everything's so easy. He's in one of those right now. He's in one of those just kind of runs where everything is just perfect for him. He's making such a and he shoots that step back 3. Like I swear that's such a hard shot. All you people go home and don't shoot a 24-foot step back 3. Shoot a 15-foot step back 3. It's hard to jump back and shoot 15, 18-footers. He's kind of mastered that shot and just playing great.
Well, let's first listen to what Rockets coach Mike D'Antoni had to say prior to this game.
He's so skilled. He's big. He's got a big body, and just skilled. Shoots threes, passes the ball really well. He's got all kinds of moves. I mean, just keep going on. He's just a great player.
They've been running a lot of inverted pick and roll.
They've
been running a lot of inverted pick and roll with Murray screening. What's unique about that?
Well, it's inverted. That's what's unique about it, because usually don't have a 7-footer that can handle the ball and pass like he can. And it puts pressure on when Murray pops. He's such a good three-point shooter that if you stop it with the little guy, which you have to, then you got to get back to Murray, who's making shots all over the place. So it's a challenge to be able to do it. You got to get up, you got to do it quick and hope for the best.
We always talk about the parity in the Western Conference. Denver's at the top. Does it surprise you at all, and how they've been able to do it?
Well, I think anytime Golden State's not at the top, it kind of surprises you. So, yeah, to a certain extent, now you knew they were good. They've been good the last couple of years, and just by being in the West, they hadn't made the playoffs. But they keep getting better, keep getting more mature as players. They have a lot of young players, and they're getting a lot better. And Murray's playing out of his mind, and Jokic, and so you kind of see they're getting better, being completely on top. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a surprise, but it's not it's definitely, you can understand why, because they're that good.
But the Rockets have won 9 consecutive home games during James Harden's streak. They've won 11 of their last 13 overall. Coach, you just challenged the viewers to go home and try to shoot a step back, even 15-footer. So is that what has impressed you most about the numbers that he's put up, or is it perhaps the wins that he's led his team to?
Well, it's winning, because that's what this league's all about. Mike, you've been in the league for a long time. It's about, it's one thing. If you have talent, you can go put up numbers, and you coach guys that can put up big numbers. I always thought that the really tough thing in the NBA is put up win after win after win. They've won 9 in a row at home, and it's due partially just because of his individual play, but, guys are making down shots for him, too. James is a good distributor, and they're knocking down shots, Mike, and you know how important that is. Guys have got to make shots.
We're talking about the step back, Kristen. It's tough to get a shot off in the NBA.
Yeah.
For somebody who's never played, you don't understand what it's like, how much energy you need and you use up just to get an open look or get this shot off. You've got a guy who controls the ball as much as Harden, and then he takes basically whatever shot he wants to get off. And these aren't defenders who aren't trying. These are great athletes, and you try to put your best guy on him, and he makes him look silly. So it's incredible what he's done now, and he's playing at that level. Like Kevin said, sometimes you just feel like you can't be stopped.
And also, when he puts his head down and goes to the hole, I love when he starts games like that. When I coach him, I'd always say, James, just get to the line. Just put your head down. It gets fouls on their best defender, because immediately the best defender comes out there, and you want to set the tone right away as a defender. You get up into him. Boy, you pick up a couple fouls in that first quarter. You play defense completely different the whole game. James sometimes will settle for threes, but when he's putting his head down and attacking and shooting the three, he's unguardable, really is.
Do you see this current usage rate as perhaps a problem as the team tries to make a playoff push in the Western Conference, as he has had to do what he's had to do without Chris Paul in the lineup?
You know, I think usage rate is also relative. I just think he has the ball a lot. But everybody used to play 36, 37, 38 minutes. I mean, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying everybody did it. Hell, I averaged over 40 a couple years minutes, you know. And
how do you feel now, by the way? Yeah.
Beat up, but I'm old. No, you know, I think he has the ball a lot. I think James is better coming off screens and doing stuff, just mixing it in. But he doesn't play that way anymore. He has the ball. I think when Chris Paul has the ball, it'll give James, when Chris Paul comes back, it'll give James a chance to rest a little bit while he's on the court.
Chris, I got a story for you. Many years ago, as a very young coach, we played the Boston Celtics' second exhibition game of the year. Bill Fitch was the head coach of Boston. When the game ended, I looked at the stat sheet and I saw Larry Bird, 42 minutes. So on the way out, I ran into Coach Fitch, and I said, Coach, as a young coach, just trying to learn, are you concerned you played Larry 42 minutes? And he looked at me and went, no, he's going to play 44, 45 every night during the season.
Yeah.
He's got to get in shape for it.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what he told me. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, on Saturday, Nikola Jokic scored a season-high 39 points in 34 minutes, along with 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He could perhaps be the best player that we have not been including in our MVP conversation regularly. But first, let's listen to what Nuggets head coach Mike Malone had to say on Nikola and on this matchup moving forward.
Can you first comment on Nikola Jokic getting Western Conference Player of the Week?
Yeah, I think it's great for him. One thing it says is that obviously we had a good week as a team, going 3-0. But when you look at his productivity, his efficiency, and what stands out to me is the playmaking. You know, the scoring, the rebounding, we've seen that. But to be, I think, 9 assists per game is pretty remarkable and historical in its own right. So happy for him. But more importantly, we have a huge game tonight, start of a 5-game and 7-night challenge.
Last time you played the Rockets, you actually did a pretty good job of holding down James Harden, but they won anyway. So how do you go about it tonight? Same kind of thoughts or change it up a little bit?
You know, in the first half, we were up 1. He had 3 points in the first half. You know, but other guys were getting off from the three-point line. And then we changed up matchups and game plan at halftime, and he had 19 points in the second half, and other guys were limited. So it's really pick your poison. He's playing at a whole nother level right now. MVP, all that is really kind of historical what he's doing. But when he is in a rhythm like that, different looks, different matchups, different people guarding him, and just try to change it up a little bit, keep him off balance a little bit. But it's going to be a hell of a challenge because right now, last whatever how many games, 40 points a night, taking 17 threes. And when you think you play good defense, he just shoots right over you anyways.
Jamal, Gary, and Nikola, Paul had really good numbers. They only played together a little bit in the last couple of games. Are you tempted to start Gary and Millsap tonight?
Yeah, it's obviously those guys, especially after that Charlotte game, both those guys are really good in that game off the bench. So when I say after the game our bench played well tonight, that's with 2 starters, obviously. But no, there's no doubt. You know, those guys, whether it's tonight or the next couple of games, they'll definitely be back in the lineup where they belong. You know, me bringing them off the bench is just slowly working them back in, getting game rhythm, getting their confidence back after being out for a lengthy period. But you can see, as I can see, Chris, that they have a rhythm, they have a confidence, and they're more than ready to be back in the starting lineup.
So while the statistical performances by Nikola Jokic tend to stand out, the Nuggets have put forth a balanced offensive effort this season. They lead the league in assist percentage at 65.5%. What is it, Coach, that's working so well when it comes to the Nuggets ball movement?
Well, Michael Malone has gotten his message across about sharing the basketball, and he has a couple unselfish players like Jokic, who isn't ranked in points per game, isn't ranked middle of the pack way down there for rebounds, but 7th in the league in assists right now. So this is a team that has bought into the concept of sharing the basketball. He sold them on depth. One of their best players hasn't even played basically for the entire season, but they've taken care of business at home. 16-3 in their building, 10-8 on the road.
Do you think perhaps that he is in the MVP race, despite not being in the regular conversation that we have that tends to center around LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo and now even James Harden?
As he keeps on putting up these numbers, of course he's going to be. And as they keep on winning, Jokic is going to get all of his love from their record. If they can continue to win and win at a high level, people are going to say, okay, what's driving this? And as you said, Mike, they have a great ability to move the ball. Part of the reason they can move the ball so well is they play 5 out a lot, which is the new trend in the NBA. But Jokic is such a good passer. Some of the teams play 5 out, and the guys can't move the ball. They get stuck in big guys' hands. He just keeps moving the ball. He throws passes. Like, you'll see him throw passes all over the floor, from the backcourt to the front court, high post, low post, passing. But I like their 5-out action. There's a lot of room for a lot of guys to make plays, and Jokic is one of them.
And as you watch this team, from top to bottom, what is it that they lack when it comes to contending for a championship?
We may have to go back to last year to answer that question. The fact that they went down to game 82, lost, and did not get into the playoffs. And the entire summer, Michael Malone did nothing but try and bring this team together with whatever he was doing, where they met up at places, worked out together. From day one, coming back to training camp, the message was delivered. We missed out by 1 game of making the playoffs this year. We're on a mission this year. And he put that carrot out in front of them. They're after it right now, and that's why they're playing as well as they are.
I'd say for them, it's the ability to get stops on demand and scores on demand. I mean, because, like Red Auerbach used to always say, if you're down 3 with a minute to go, you're going to have to score. I promise you, if you want to win the game. He said, I'm not a great math guy, but I know we're down 3. And you're going to have to go out and score. So I think all great teams have the ability to get stops on demand and scores on demand. Like, you with them, is it going to be Millsap? Is it going to be Jokic? What player are you going to run? How are you going to get the ball? They have such an equal opportunity in the offense. But sometimes late in the game, you got to give your best player against that best matchup the ball in his best spot and let him go to work and get a shot for you. And then stops on demand, where everybody's on there, and you're going to go out, and when you play on championship caliber teams, you go like, hey, we need a stop, and you just feel it in your heart you're going to go get that stop. And you go out there, and I think that's what you need. That's the next level for these guys. Young team making that jump is that down 2 with a minute to go, and you win that game. You win it by 3 or 4 because you get stops, you score. And that builds confidence. So to me, that's the next level for these guys, is stops and scores on demand. How are they going to do it? Do it as a group defensively, but offensively, who are they going to go to and where on the floor is that guy?